What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's reaction video is the top 25 places to visit in the USA. So it's not necessarily national parks.
Okay, so this is just 25 places. His opinion. This could be where he is now, lake.
I'm guessing. It looks a beautiful lake. The colour of it looks beautiful as well.
It could be Disneyland for all we know. That could be
Right,
on
definitely it's not Disneyland.
Yeah, but no, it could be on the list.
Yeah, it could be.
Things like that.
That's what I'm guessing. I may be wrong. It may be national parks.
So it might not necessarily be states either. Could just be.
It could just be areas.
Places,
Like this lake, potentially, like you said, could be on there. I think it's this guy. I've never checked him out before, but his link is in the description. Go and check him out. But wait till after this video.
I will.
Good. High five. Smash that button, guys. Smash the subscribe button as well. We'd seriously appreciate it. These are 25 places we potentially may visit in the future. Fingers crossed. And let's see how beautiful they are. Already starting on a beautiful image, aren't we?
That is. You mean the thing behind him, right?
I mean, he's quite fit as well, to be fair to him. There's no point lying. But yeah, the scene was quite beautiful.
I like the mountains in the background.
But yeah, we love a good mountain, don't we?
And the lake, the colour of the lake as well looks good.
Very, very nice.
I think it's a lake.
Smash that button, guys. Smash the subscribe button. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's look at the top 25 places to visit in the USA. What we got?
Before we start.
What's up?
Yeah.
Isn't this very American? Like them going to coming here to lakes, like groups of people.
Oh, it seems like spring break kind of.
Yeah, like
vibe.
I don't know, like freshmen's going to.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean?
I know what you mean. And it looks like he's going to do
from
a
the
backflip.
movies. That's what I think of.
No, I definitely know what you mean.
Up, guys? My name is Ryan, and I spent most of my life living in the United States, and I want to show you my favorite places. So here's my USA top 25.
Let's hope this isn't copyrighted.
The US is an incredible country, from the beautiful Hawaiian Islands, the wild rock formations of the Southwest. Each part of the US has something unique to offer that deserves a visit. Let's start this video off at beautiful Lake Tahoe. I have to say that it's my favorite lake in the USA, located right on the Nevada and California border. Lake Tahoe is the second deepest lake in America with a depth of over 1,600 feet. I mean, it's just absolutely massive. What I love about this lake is how clear the water is. I mean, it's just such a stunning blue color. It's also famous for having smooth granite rocks that peek out of the water. Now, a great place to go is Sand Harbor Beach. It's full of clear water and tons of Lake Tahoe rocks. It's an ideal place to swim and paddleboard. Me and my wife were there back in May. Now, while the water was freaking cold, it was still fun to go there and enjoy the scenery. If you do go, I'd recommend visiting in July or August, so the water can warm up.
They're married.
Yeah, I was going to say, you just meant the scene, didn't you?
I just meant the scene with the young people in the back. I don't know how old they are. Young people.
Probably older than us.
We're going to head over to Yosemite National Park. Now, located about a 4-hour drive from Lake Tahoe, Yosemite is one of the most stunning national parks. It's famous for its massive granite cliffs, clear streams, and powerful waterfalls. One of the coolest features of the park is Half Dome. It's this gigantic piece of granite that rises over 5,000 feet from the valley below. One side is a sheer cliff, while the other half has the appearance of a rounded dome. One of the most famous waterfalls in the park is Yosemite Falls. It's one of the world's tallest, with its upper falls being 1,430 feet high. One of the more peculiar waterfalls in the park is Horsetail Falls.
Yosemite, isn't it? I thought it was
No, he said Yosemite.
Yeah. Oh, right.
He said Yosemite.
We'll come back to this point, but
Yosemite.
Let's see how he pronounces
it. And tons of Lake Tahoe back in May. Now, while the water was freaking cold, it was still fun to go there and enjoy the scenery. If you do go, I'd recommend visiting in July or August, so the water can warm up a little. After, we're going to head over to Yosemite National Park.
I always say Yosemite.
Yeah, I think that's where I go from, because you normally say it.
Mid-February, the setting sun hits the water just right, creating the illusion of a firefall. Yosemite is home to some of the most beautiful spots in the U.S., and I hope you all can visit. From Yosemite, we're going to head to the coast to visit Big Sur. Now, located on the Pacific 101 highway, Big Sur is one of America's most scenic drives, known for its winding turns, seaside cliffs, and views of the misty coastline. One of the coolest places in Big Sur is the Bixby Creek Bridge. It's one of California's most photographed bridges, and you'll understand why when you get there. Big Sur is also home to Midway Falls, which is an 80-foot waterfall that falls onto the beach below. If you keep driving south on the 101, it'll take you to this elephant seal vista point. It's this beach filled with thousands of elephant seals. They're some of the largest and weirdest animals I've ever seen. Depending on what time of year you go there.
Imagine going sunbathing with some seals.
Yeah, I don't think it's think you go sunbathing. It's also good that we're alive, but for half a second I thought they were potentially dead. I
was thinking, why is he saying we should go watch some dead seals?
Yeah, but it's good that we're alive, and I don't think you'd go sunbathing on that though.
Oh, I wouldn't go anywhere near it.
Maybe sleeping on the beach or fighting
look
to
how
the
many
death.
there is.
Pretty crazy animals. Now, while we're still in California, we're going to visit the California redwoods. Now, the redwoods are the tallest trees in the world, with the highest reaching 379 feet tall. There are groves of redwoods scattered along the northern California coast, and there are plenty of places to see them. I went to the Jedediah Smith Redwood State Park. We explored the grove, and I was just blown away by the size of the trees. Not only were the trees amazing, but just the whole ambience of being there. The trees pretty much blocked out all sunlight, and then the ground was covered in these ferns that made it feel like you were in a Jurassic Park film. I mean, such a magical place. Now, after exploring California, we're going to make the drive up to Oregon. Now, I have to say that Oregon is one of my favorite states. It's home to massive volcanoes and countless waterfalls. Me and my wife did a road trip through the state about a month ago, and it was extremely enjoyable. Oregon is home to some of the best coastline in the USA. I highly recommend just driving down the 101 coastal highway.
I can see why you guys like your road
stops
trips.
was this place called Meyer
So many
Beach.
nice places to go.
There's so many beautiful road trips in there. What we've seen literally 3 minutes into this video, which is mad.
It had these massive rocks, and we had the beach all to ourselves. Another scenic spot is the Samuel H. Boardman Scenic Corridor. It's one of the most beautiful spots on the Oregon coast, in my opinion. If you keep driving up the 101, you'll reach Cannon Beach. When you think of Oregon, you might think of Cannon Beach. I remember first seeing this place on Steven Spielberg's movie, The Goonies, and I've wanted to go ever since.
Yes.
It's famous for its Haystack Rock. It's this massive 235
That's what we see in the distance,
foot
isn't it?
Haystack that shoots out of the ocean. In 2013, it was listed as one of the world's 100 most beautiful places by National Geographic, and I totally understand why. It's a wonderful beach to relax or jump in the water if you can handle the cold. After Oregon, we're going to head up to neighboring Seattle.
I'd like to go to
Located in the state of Washington, Seattle has to be one of my favorite cities. I just love how it's built right on the Puget Sound, contrasted with the skyline full of...
I did always think Seattle was the state.
Oh, not the actual city in Washington. There you go.
Yeah.
I thought there were 52 states for a very long time, so
maybe Seattle was one.
Yeah, maybe I count Seattle.
Skyscrapers and a backdrop of the massive Mount Rainier. Now, one place you gotta visit if you're in Seattle is Pike's Place. It's a public market that has been open for more than 100 years. It's full of fresh produce stands, unique shops, and the world's first Starbucks. I just love all the colors, smells, and just all-around vibe. Pike's Place is also home to the Gum Mall. It might gross you out, but at least it's full of colors. After Seattle, we're going to head up north to visit Alaska. When you think of untamed wilderness, Alaska is it.
It's so cold.
I feel like the little plane ride, if you have to take a little plane ride, I'm not doing it. Because the amount of stories we've heard. I'll go in a little plane in a lot of places, but the amount of stories we've heard over Alaska, and it's just come down, crashed. Nah.
I'm pretty sure you probably do have to go on a little plane.
Yeah, nah, I don't think I could be doing that. There's no point risking it.
And it's just a land full of some of the world's biggest mountains and glaciers, and it's one of the few places in the USA where you can see the Aurora Borealis. When I look at these landscapes, I mean, they're just so vast and untouched. I mean, it's unbelievable. One popular form of transportation is by helicopter or bush plane, because some spots are just so remote. So if you ever want to escape the chaos of the world, Alaska may be the place you gotta go. After Alaska, we're going to head over to Hawaii to visit the island of Oahu.
Gotta go.
All the Hawaiian Islands, I have to say Oahu is my favorite. I lived there for over 8 months on the North Shore, and it was some of the greatest times of my life. If you love hiking, surfing, or adventures, Oahu is the place for you. One of the most popular places on Oahu is Waikiki. It's a perfect combination of city and ocean. The beach is lined with high-rise hotels and shops. It's a perfect place to surf and catch some waves. Another one of the most famous places on Oahu is the North Shore. The North Shore is 17 miles of coastline that is home to some of the greatest surfing in the world. One of the most well-known beaches on the North Shore is the Bonsai Pipeline. The waves are created by a super sharp and dangerous reef that causes the waves to break just right. During the winter months, some of the most popular surfing competitions are held here, and the waves can reach over 20 feet high. When there aren't crazy waves, I love swimming on the North Shore. The water is so clear, and the waves are just such a fun time to swim in. While we're still in Hawaii, we're going to head over to the island of Kauai. Of all the Hawaiian islands, Kauai is the oldest, making it the most beautiful.
Like multicolored as well, different texture.
And diverse. It's nicknamed the Garden Island, and when you go there, you'll understand why. One of my favorite places is the Napali Coast. There are very few places in the world, if any, that match the beauty of this coastline. The Napali Coast is filled with sea cliffs that rise 3,000 feet from the ocean, contrasted with deep, narrow valleys that empty to the sea see
It gives me
below.
Moana
There's several
vibes.
ways to experience an
Okay, I know what you
Apollon
mean.
Coast. One of the best ways is by helicopter. Prices range from anywhere between $200 to $300 for a 50-minute tour. You'll be able to get some of the
that's
best
not too
views
bad.
in Nepal's coastal cliffs and valleys. Another great way is through a boat tour. These range from 3 to 6 hours and cost
Ooh, them
upwards
waves.
to
It looks rocky.
$150 per person. If you're on a budget like me, there's plenty of hikes and lookout spots you can go to. One of my
We'll
favorite
get walking. We're on a budget.
Not on that steepness.
Yeah, we'll be walking. High five. I'll be walking on my own. It
If
seems
we go
like
to Hawaii, I'm not walking. I'll
you'll be
sunbathing.
waving from a helicopter.
I'll just be sunbathing if we're going to Hawaii.
is the Kalalua Lookout. Another amazing place to visit in Kauai is Waimea Canyon, nicknamed the Grand Canyon of the Pacific. It's
Okay.
over 10 miles long and
I can see why.
3,000 feet
Yeah.
deep. I just love the contrast between the red rock
I'm not
against the
liking
tropical
him going that
vegetation.
close to the
After
edge.
exploring the Hawaiian Islands, we're going to head back to the continental
Been there.
U.S. to visit the
Yeah.
iconic New York City. With its massive skyscrapers, diverse cultures, and hustle and bustle atmosphere, it's a
I
place
hated
that
those
needs to
subways.
be experienced. I was fortunate enough to live in New York for a few months, and the city
lived everywhere,
lifestyle
hasn't it?
quickly
Yes.
grew on me. One of my favorite places in the city is the Brooklyn Bridge. The Brooklyn Bridge is one of the most photogenic places in all of New
The
York.
one thing we
It's
didn't
this
do.
massive bridge that connects the boroughs of Brooklyn to Manhattan. The bridge was finished in 1883, and it's become one of New York's most popular
It's a beautiful bridge,
attractions.
to be
fair.
I
It
also
is.
love walking across the bridge and enjoying the view of Manhattan and the water below. The bridge is a great place to experience during the day, and it gets even more stunning at night because you'll be able to see the city lights. One of the most famous places in New York City is Times Square. It's one of the world's most popular tourist attractions, bringing in over 50 million people each year. It's full of
50
thousands
million.
of lights and advertisements.
Crazy.
There's just so much
It's
energy
mad at
there.
night, innit?
You can walk
Yeah.
around
It's
there
just
for
such a weird place. I feel like if you're only going to go for one time at a time, you got to go at night, aren't you?
I feel like it was just weird because it was the middle of the day.
Yeah, it just feels like day, and then you look up and oh, it is night.
Like when we were walking through there at like 9 o'clock at night, it's so bizarre because all the shops are open.
Yeah.
There's just people. The one time it was quiet was when we woke up. We went out about 7 a.m. and it was quieter.
Yeah, it was light
Like
in the morning and
noticeably
quiet.
quieter.
Definitely. But it's a city that never
But
sleeps, isn't it?
Yeah, but I didn't
Literally.
believe it till I went.
hours. There are entertainers on the street and tons of other random attractions. Now, if you want a nature break from the
Could do
city, you can explore Central Park. Opened in 1876, it's home to beautiful bridges,
Got my
tons
photo
of
there.
walkways where you can exercise or ride a bike. I mean, just such a beautiful contrast between the hectic city life. After exploring New York, we're going to head over to the nearby region of New England,
Okay.
located in the northeastern part of the U.S. New England is comprised of Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and
That's
Maine.
cute.
New
I like
England
that.
is one of the
That.
most
Little fishing
historical
town.
regions in the U.S. It's where the Pilgrims settled in 1620, and it's also where the Revolutionary War was born. I mean, just such a fascinating region. The most popular
lot of
city in
history.
New
Yeah.
England is Boston. Located in the state of Massachusetts, Boston is one of the oldest municipalities in the U.S., founded in 1630 by the Puritan settlers. Historical events such as the Boston Tea Party took place during the Revolutionary War here. Today, Boston is a thriving city, home to universities such as Harvard and MIT. Now, if you want to escape the city and see some nature,
I tell you
I
what, that's a
suggest
weird one
going to
because Boston doesn't really come up on our list that often, does it?
No, and I also didn't know Harvard was in Boston.
There you go. Learn something new as well, even though everyone
Even
thinks
though
you've gone
I've
to
been,
Horse.
so I should know.
Everyone thinks you've been to Harvard. Yeah, but I feel like we need to do Boston. It doesn't come up too often, but it's quite a place which I feel like you need to do for the history and stuff like that.
I feel like I'd like to go to New England.
Yeah,
like,
just it'd be a nice
that
chill
vibe.
day and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Vermont. This may be one of the best places to visit during fall. The trees turn to unbelievable
wow.
red,
So pretty.
orange, and yellow colors. Vermont is also home to historical towns such as Brattleboro. Now, another one of my favorite states in New England is Maine.
Just like
Maine
Jersey,
is
that.
the northeasternmost point in the U.S. as it borders Canada. It's famous for its scenic coastline
Jersey
filled
Gives me
with
Jersey
lighthouses
vibes, though.
and lobster shacks.
Especially
One
with
of
the
my
lobsters.
favorite cities in Maine is Portland. It's a charming city on Maine's coast. It was first settled in 1623 by European settlers. Today it's
love how
known
the
for its
boats are
old
just
port
there.
district
Like,
and
yeah,
harbor.
just-
One of the coolest places is the Portland Head Light. It's a historic lighthouse that was built all the way back
That's a
in
cute lighthouse.
1791, making it the oldest lighthouse in Maine.
Oh wow.
Another beautiful place in the state is the Acadia National Park. Acadia is mostly located on the Mount Desert Island. The national park is full of granite peaks, rocky coasts, and tons of beautiful trees. I have to say it's one of the most impressive
What a
national
view.
parks on the
What a
East Coast.
view.
After Maine, we're going to head to the opposite side of the country to visit the Florida Keys. So the Florida Keys are
Oh,
a
this is what you
Coral
like
Cay
before.
archipelago
Yeah.
looking
Do you know
right
much
off
about
the
Florida
southern
Keys? It literally is just islands like that.
No idea. I didn't even know it was part of Florida.
Yeah, I don't know much about it, but I've seen about it. And it literally is just this road, which I haven't seen much about, and then just islands off. And I'm pretty sure you can stay there on like vacation stuff like that, which is
Sounds cool.
It sounds pretty cool.
Florida,
just like in the middle of nowhere.
Basically the American version of the Bahamas. What's really impressive is that all the islands are connected by a road, making it one of the coolest drives in the US. I was out in Florida in December, and I really wanted to drive all the way to the end of the Keys. When you drive on the bridges, you'll be able to see the blue Caribbean Sea. One of the most impressive ones is the 7-mile bridge. At the time of its construction, it was one of the longest bridges in the world. I mean, it just looks like it never ends. The final destination on the Keys takes you to the city of Key West. It's the most southern place in the continental US. We spent the sunset swimming on Fort Zachary Taylor State Park Beach, and it was just the perfect way to end the day. Alright, after Florida, we're going to head over to Wyoming to visit Yellowstone National Park. I went here a few weeks ago, and it was a magical experience. Now, one of the most famous places in Yellowstone is the Grand Prismatic Spring. It's the third largest hot spring in the world, with a depth of 160 feet. And from above, it displays a remarkable rainbow color. You can walk on the platforms around the spring, but you'll get the best view by taking the short hike up to the Grand Prismatic Spring overlook. Another iconic spot in the park is Old Faithful. It's one of the world's most famous geysers because of its reliability. It erupts around every 90 minutes, and the boiling water can reach 185 feet high. You can also make a drive up to the Upper Falls. It's one of the most powerful waterfalls I've ever seen. Another less popular but just as stunning spot is Mammoth Springs. I went there first thing in the morning, and it was magical with all its mist coming off the hot spring terraces. Now, while we're still in Wyoming, we're going to head over to the nearby Grand Tetons National Park. I have to say, this is one of my favorite national parks. I just love the incredible scenery.
When we react to these, it just reminds me again how big the US is, and how beautiful it is.
Yeah.
It is incredible.
You don't think about it though, do you? Like, until you watch this.
No, you kind of, I mean, we've reacted to loads of things like this. It's like, oh my days. And then you just get back into the swing, just doing normal reactions and stuff. And you just forget how many places, like, oh, we need to go over. And you've got a few bulleted down, like, oh, we want to visit there, we want to visit there. And then you're just like, oh my God. We need to go back multiple times to see as much as possible, because it's stunning, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the unique jagged shape of the Grand Tetons. I mean, there's tons of hikes to go on. One of my favorites is to Delta Lake. It's a somewhat challenging hike, but when you reach the top, you're rewarded with a blue Gatorade colored glacier lake that has the backdrop of the massive Grand Teton Peak. I mean, it's just hard to beat the location of the spot. When I went there, I just had to jump in the water. I have to say, it was some of the coolest I've ever been in, but nothing makes you feel more alive than a polar plunge in some glacier water. If you want a more relaxed experience in the Tetons, you can take the ferry across Jenny's Lake and then make a short hike up to the waterfall. Now, after Wyoming, we're going to make the 2-hour drive to Idaho to visit the St. Anthony Sand Dunes. I mean, this place is bizarre.
2-hour drive, and then you got that.
10,000 acres of sand dunes right next to some farmland. I mean, it just feels so out of place. But the whole area is the ultimate playground. Some of the dunes reach 400 feet high. Now, if you love riding dune buggies or dirt bikes, this is the place you gotta go. My grandparents live nearby, so I've come here many times. Whenever I'm here, I feel like I'm in Dubai or somewhere exotic. It's just such an epic place you gotta visit if you're ever in Idaho. Now, after Idaho, we're going down to Utah to visit the famous Bonneville Salt Flats. The Salt Flats are located about 2 hours west of Salt Lake City. It's one of the craziest locations in Utah and the world. It's basically 30,000 acres of mud covered in a layer of salt. There's no vegetation, so all you see is white and surrounding mountains. The Salt Flats have been featured in many music videos and movies such as Pirates of the Caribbean. I love coming out here and just messing around on the salt, whether it's setting up a tramp on the Salt Flats or jumping over my car. Since the salt is completely flat, the world's fastest land record has been set here. If you do go, be cautious about driving on the salt because you can sink your car if the salt isn't dry. Now, when it rains, the Salt Flats become the world's largest mirror, and it's just a truly surreal place that you have to visit if you're ever in Utah. After Utah, we're going to New Mexico to visit Shiprock. Now, this may be one of the most random and unique rock structures I've ever seen. Special thanks to my friend David and Rule for helping me out with the footage here. He has some amazing shots of Shiprock. What I think is so unique about it is the volcanic spines that lead up to the rock. From a Google Earth point of view, you can see 3 volcanic spines that all come together at the rock. I mean, I've never seen anything like it before. The rock is sacred to the Navajos. They named it the Rock with Wings. I mean, what a bizarre place. While we're still in the
Does seem pretty
southwest,
mad, doesn't
we're
it?
going to visit Lake Powell. Now, Lake Powell is one of the
heard about
coolest
Lake Powell.
man-made lakes in the world. It's a reservoir that is located in Utah and Arizona. It's been called America's Lost National Park because you feel like you're in the Grand Canyon, except it's filled up with water. Now, Lake Powell was created back in 1960. A lot of my family and
That's pretty
friends
cool,
will
isn't
rent
it?
a
I'd
love to
houseboat
just do
and go
that.
boating down here for weeks during the summertime. I mean, I just can't think of a better place to go wakeboarding, and it's a mecca for cliff jumping and water sports. I mean, Lake Powell is such an incredible place, and I hope
That's
you
so
all can visit one day.
confusing, sorry,
Now,
right.
a super cool spot right
Yeah, we've
outside
seen that.
Lake Powell is Horseshoe Bend. It's this picturesque
Look at
section
that.
of the
Crazy that
Colorado River,
nature just makes
surrounded
that.
by massive.
I know it, but all these places are just pretty much, most of them are naturally formed,
Just-
and they're just stunning.
Like how?
And
We've
it-
got Jersey. How have we? How?
To be fair, Jersey's quite beautiful as well, but this is just the amount of it and the magnitude of it just constant all over the
with
US.
walls. Another really fascinating
my
nearby
days.
attraction is Antelope Canyon. It's located just 20 minutes from Horseshoe Bend. Now, Antelope Canyon is one of the most impressive slot canyons in the world. From the outside, the area just looks like a normal desert landscape. As you descend in the slot canyon, you'll witness some of the most beautiful sculpted sandstone. The canyon was formed by flash floods and thousands of years of erosion. Now, for our last destination, we're going back to Utah to visit Zion National Park. Now, Zion is just out of this world. Pictures and videos don't do it justice. It's home to steep red rock cliffs that are thousands of feet high. One of my favorite and most famous
So high,
places
isn't
in
it?
Zion
It is
is the
crazy.
hike to Angel's Landing. It's about a 5-mile round trip hike that's famous for its sketchy chain trail. We crossed the bridge over the Virgin
No
River
way.
and headed up the trail. We hiked up some steep switchbacks until we reached the top. Angel's Landing is famous for its
Oh.
1,000-foot drop-offs and
Oh my
chains
God.
that lead the way. I did the hike in the winter, so it was icy at times. I bought my 360 camera so I could get every possible angle of the trail. I was able to reach the top, and the view just blew my mind. I was able to see all of Zion's Canyon, and it was just surreal. If you can handle the heights, I hope you can hike Angel's Landing sometime in your life. Well, that is it for my
That
USA
was
Top
awesome.
25.
I don't know if you'd be able to do that hike,
I think I could.
but I'd definitely give it a go. That video was awesome, wasn't it?
There was so many places that we haven't seen before.
A lot of new ones, some absolutely stunning ones, not
Yeah.
just national parks as well. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too. It was good.
Smash that if you enjoy it, guys. Smash the subscribe button. Let us know your top place in the USA to visit. It doesn't have to be on this list, just your personal favourite, maybe personal
Do you know,
reasons.
I think mine might be Boston.
And we haven't actually visited it yet.
No, my top place
Oh,
to visit
well, on
is
the
in-
list.
on this video.
On this list, what you want to go to.
Mm.
Fair enough. Boston, again, it doesn't come up often for us, does it? But
No.
it's definitely snuck up on there, hasn't it?
Mm.
Let us know your favourite place in the comments. Like I said, it could be personal, it could be just with the crowd. Everyone just likes sometimes the most
Yeah.
popular place, or it might just be what you prefer. Smash that button, guys. Smash the subscribe button, and what should we do?
Have a fantastic day.
And we'll see you, legends, in the next one. Peace.